Whenever you review movies, you always get a certain amount of criticism aimed at how you proceed. One of the biggest criticisms that I have received in my career as a movie reviewer is my adoration for popcorn flicks. Maybe it's about time I explain myself.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast and consider becoming a channel member. All right, and as I have said in previous videos, for those of you wondering how I review my movies, typically I put them in four categories. You have your great films. This is where I would put movies like The Godfather, The Dark Knight, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Then you have your good films. So they're not high end art or whatever you want to say. They're not highbrow, as some elitist might say, but they're still solid movies. This is where I would put films like Primal Fear or Iron Man or even the Hobbit trilogy to some degree. And then there are the fun films. Now, this is where most popcorn films lie. These are movies that you just watch out of pure entertainment. Movies like Kong Skull Island or the original animated Transformers or even the first Michael Bay Transformers movie. And then, of course, you have your bad films where you can put things like Sucker Punch or anything by Lars von Trier or or stuff like that. Just bad, terrible, no good films. And I'm here to talk about that third category, which is the fun films, because I tend to not be as harsh with them as other people who might consider themselves critics. Now, I don't consider myself a movie critic. Someone like, say, my friend Christian Toto or Tyler Hamal or Jester Bell, they actually kind of look at films more from an artistic perspective. They want to look at it from the cinematic landscape and where a movie fits in. I don't do that. I review the film. I look at it as it is, not as I would like it to be, or from some cinematic landscape, as I said. In no way, shape, or form does this make me better than them. I'm not in any way critiquing them and how they review films or critique films. Not at all. I'm just saying we are different in our perspectives. And a lot of times I tend to land more with the audience side of Rotten Tomatoes. This isn't always true. Sometimes I disagree with the audience about whether a movie is good or not. That has happened before. Sometimes I am in line with my friends who do film critiques. But for the most part, I tend to look at it as, will an audience member enjoy this? And when it comes to popcorn films, this is why I think that there is a lot of gray in how one might perceive these films. Typically, when a movie critic walks into a movie, they want to say, hey, what is this movie saying to me? What is it like aesthetically? How do the performances enhance the movie? How does the soundtrack, the score, enhance the film? I do observe these things. I like to look at how an actor might portray a particular character, how a song might resonate with me during a certain scene, or how the special effects may look real or fake. I do debate these things in my reviews, but typically speaking, I tend to just go in and say, hey, did this movie entertain me? Now, again, I'm specifically talking about fun movies. I'm not talking about good and great films because a lot of those films, while I can get enjoyment out of them, I don't tend to just watch them to get off on my jollies. Fun movies, I do. And that's why I'm breaking this down. So, to start, reason number one why I tend to be less harsh with these fun films, or what some might call popcorn flicks, is because I just want to have a good time. I go into this knowing that a movie might not be that fantastic, that I might at some point just go, oh, wow, that was unrealistic. And you have to suspend your belief. More on that later. This is why I tend to give good reviews to movies like Venom or Venom Let There Be Carnage or Venom The Last Dance. This is something that I clashed with many of my fellow people within the film space on social media. I really like the Venom films. I think they're fun. I think they're enjoyable. I think they're a great take on the character. Now, I do wish Spider Man was in them for sure, because Venom is, as you can see from the artwork behind me, is one of my favorite comic book villains. In fact, I've got my top three favorite villains behind me. I've got Venom, Darth Vader, and Joker right there. Going into something like a Venom film or one of the early Fast and Furious movies, post Tokyo Drift. Now, I don't watch Fast and Furious movies anymore because even the fun factor for them has kind of departed. I mean, a car in space, really? But all that to say, I did have fun with like the fourth Fast and Furious movie, the one starring Gal Gadot. I believe that one was just called Fast and Furious. I did like that movie. I enjoyed it. Did I think it was good as the first three? Which the first three I would even put in the good category. That's how much I enjoyed them, even as films. The fourth one, not so much. I would put it in that fun movie. It's where the movies started to go off into more action films when instead of being about brotherhood or betrayal or whatever it is, the movies started to be about specifically action and how our heroes, so to speak, are saving the day with their revved up cars. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy the Fast and Furious movies, post Fast and Furious, good on you. I'm glad you're having a good time. Have a great time, in fact. I highly recommend it. I'm just saying, for me, I kind of departed from that series again because of the car in outer space. They kind of jumped the shark with that one, or nuked the fridge, whatever you prefer. So, yeah, I can go into a Venom film or a Fast and Furious film and have a good time. And that's why I'm going. Number two, sometimes I like the suspension of reality. I go into a movie like The Godfather or Goodfellas or Lord of the Rings, even a fantasy film like Lord of the Rings, and I still want to be grounded somewhat in reality. I want to see real world consequences. I want to engage with the characters and learn their motivations. Same with a good film like, say, Primal Fear, like I mentioned earlier, or a good film like Angels in the Outfield, right? I want to believe that angels are actually helping out this baseball team. I want to be in that zone. Now, with these fun films, you have to suspend your real world belief a little bit to get into them, or the movie doesn't make sense. Characters do things that make you scratch your head. Their motivations aren't always clear. Sometimes the morality of it is a little bit more gray, and that's okay. It's okay to go into those films knowing you're not going to get some sort of subtext on the condition of humanity. You just go into those. You can suspend your belief for a little while, turn off your brain, and just have a good time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Do it. Have a blast. This is what I do often in these movies. A lot of the ones I watch are action films because I'm kind of a sucker for a good punch in the face. I have a good time watching that, where my suspension of reality gets turned off for a minute. A good example of this would be Bloodshot, starring Vin Diesel. It's an adaptation of the Valiant Comics character of the same name, and a lot of people hated that movie. I didn't. I actually went on a radio show and talked about, hey, this is a good movie to have popcorn with. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good time for 2 hours where I could just eat my popcorn and turn off my brain and suspend my belief. And I thought it was fun. I'm not saying that it's good or great, but I'm saying I had a good time while I was watching it. The final point I'll make about why I enjoy popcorn flicks. So, the third reason is sometimes they're just so bad they're good. It's something like Madam Web or Moonfall, where you can watch the movie and just laugh your way through it. Under normal circumstances, a movie like Madam Web or Moonfall, you might put those films in the bad category because they're so poorly made. However, I actually kind of enjoy those movies. I think they're fun. It's good to every once in a while to have a beer, have your popcorn, and laugh at just how hilariously bad these movies are, right? You can have a good time while acknowledging that the movie is bad, but they're fun to watch, and there's nothing wrong with that. I won't spend too much time on this final point, but I just think it's so funny when people get the stiff upper lip about movies like that and how they break down, but I always end up laughing. I'm not laughing with the movie, I'm laughing at the movie, and that makes it funny sometimes. It makes it for a good time, for a party, where you can quote the cringy dialogue and the poor acting and the incoherent stories and just sit back and enjoy it. So, yeah, those are the three main reasons why I like popcorn flicks. I like just going in to have a good time. I like the suspension of belief, and I like to laugh at the ones that are so bad they're good. And in my humble opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong about it if you or I enjoy movies in that way. I know this is a little different than what I usually do. Normally, I do a news item and I break that down. I break down what I think about the circumstance and what the consequences of that could be. And this is more of an essay style video. If you like this essay style video, please let me know in the comments below because I would like to do more of them. If you would like me to talk about not just the fun movies, if you would like me to talk about great, good, and bad levels, let me know. I would love to hear from you. Please tell me because if you enjoyed this video essay, I would like to do more in that regard. Once again, thank you so much for watching today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment on what you think, and subscribe if you want to support the channel. Become a channel member and ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and check out my locals community where you can sign up for a monthly subscription or you can send my articles tips. You can also check out my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where you can look at my movie reviews. You can check out other things as well, like my comments on television, anime, novels, and so much more. You can also pick up one or all of my novels at Amazon.com. Give them a read, leave them a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.